And I don't really drink beer.
You had said a team that drinks together, wins together.
Yeah.
Have you tried to incorporate that more?
I'm not going to tell you that.
I have never heard that.
The team that drinks together wins
That's
together?
a thing?
I don't know.
I just feel like that was just posited, and Aaron Rodgers has to be like, no.
We tried to do that in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Together, and it was just you and me.
We were there. Yeah, what's up with that?
Yeah, two of the four.
I didn't know about the party till late.
Yeah.
So y'all, I just found out.
I'll own that.
Can I
Big time.
add something to this real quick?
Please.
I had never liked Guinness, ever. And I went to Hubs' wedding, our executive producer, who married a wonderful Irish girl in Dublin, had Guinness in Ireland. Drastically different than the Guinness here. Excellent. And then I had talked to him about it. They're like, oh yeah, there's like regulations and laws about how often you clean the taps and how far it is from the keg. And the bartender was saying the Guinness in the U.S., no good, but in Ireland.
I think it is good here.
Since then I've liked it here. But there, it was like a different drink. So that I'm with Rodgers on. I found something to
I
agree
feel
with
that way
Aaron
about Heineken in Europe.
Well, it's fresher, sure. It's closer to the source. But Guinness off tap in
Hey,
Ireland,
Budweiser in
10 out
St.
of 10.
Louis.
Yeah.
Oh, St. Louis, Kansas City.
Can't
Started in that rivalry.
Can't have it.
We're starting the show today.
Products.
Ravens are in Arrowhead. Lamar only has one win against Patrick Mahomes. He's got 5 losses. But that's all in the past, according to Lamar. Take a listen.
You can't bring what happened back whenever when, to this year. We just got to lock in on what's ahead right now, just getting better in practice, watch film on those guys, watch ourselves, self-scout ourselves, just get after it come Sunday.
Danny, who needs this win more?
1,000% objectively, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Wow.
You guys, I've been listening to you guys talk about this, and you're talking about like the belief that the Ravens need to have against the Chiefs if they get them in January, or you're talking about like the championship pedigree of the Chiefs, so that if they lose, we know they will be fine. If the Ravens lose this game, everyone in the world will still think they're going to win the AFC North because of the teams in front of them, and that means if you win the division, you host a playoff game. If the Chiefs lose this game, and they are 3 back of the Chargers in the loss column, assuming the Chargers beat the Giants, and effectively 4 back with the tiebreaker, we will be talking about the Chiefs as a wild card team or missing the playoffs.
Or missing the playoffs.
Yeah, well, so here's the thing. Right now, Nick and I know this. We gamble on sports all the time, and sometimes I do color my analysis through what the market says. Odds to make the playoffs today, before this game has even happened. The Chiefs are a 2-1 favorite to make the playoffs. The Ravens are a 12-1 favorite to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Meaning, this game objectively means more for the Chiefs. Because if the Ravens...
Based on that, I mean, I know y'all in all. I couldn't care less about those odds as far as any odds that are going to tell me if the Chiefs lose, which obviously I hope happens, that they're not going to make the playoffs.
They will be a coin flip to make the playoffs if they lose this game.
They can be a coin flip, but do you actually think that is legitimate?
Yes.
No, okay, so all right, well then, as you would say, we can book that. Second of all, they won't be a coin flip to make it. If there might, we
They'll
don't
be like -140.
So hold on. I agree with you that the Ravens can lose and still be alive to win their division.
Yes.
And if the Chiefs lose, they are on life support to win the division. I totally agree with that.
So doesn't that objectively make the game bigger for the Chiefs?
No, because neither one of these teams care about winning a division. Either one of these teams care about is winning a Super Bowl. And what I think is bananas, if from you and from the vast majority of media, honestly, outside of me and Brew, is a total double standard for Baltimore. This idea that Baltimore's dead last defense, which, by the way, how many teams in the history of the league have won a Super Bowl after allowing 40 in week 1? 0. How many teams have won a Super Bowl in the last 30 years with a below average, much less dead last defense? 1. That'll just be fine.
But you don't believe that the Ravens are a dead last defense.
No, well, I saw them be a dead last defense for 10 weeks last year. I saw them be a dead last defense for 3 weeks this year. I saw the the Chiefs' offensive struggles have players coming back. Justin Madubuike, or Nnamdi Madubuike, pardon me, we don't know. Like, that's a scary one where Harbaugh won't even talk about it. I think there's real concern. Sadly, his season could be over. And this bizarro idea that Baltimore, that it's just happenstance, that Baltimore doesn't beat the Chiefs and doesn't play the best in the postseason, and eventually that'll change. But if they when Baltimore is, at the moment, the better team than Kansas City, the quarterback's playing better. You said on Monday that Baltimore plus or minus 2.5 was an early bet you loved. They lose this game, but no, don't worry. You play in January and they're going to feel great about it. I don't understand it. And it is...
Well, they played in January and they won their division and had a home game. They would feel better than Mahomes as a wild card.
Why? Why?
We've never seen the Chiefs as a wild card.
And we had never seen the Chiefs go on the road until they went to Baltimore and beat them. Well, we've seen the Chiefs win in the AFC playoffs against every single person that is going to be in the AFC playoffs. We've never seen Lamar beat one of his contemporaries in the playoffs.
Weird, like that we're in week 4, and you're already like, there's some benchmarks for the Chiefs, and you're already like conceding the ground of the AFC West, where we like.
If they go 1-4 and the Chargers are 4-0, like
that's what I'm saying. Like that benchmark is done.
No,
like they're like, all right, maybe they do it, but it would be a tough climb. But it feels like you are willing to concede.
No, I think the Chiefs are going to win this weekend. I am willing to concede that if the Chargers are 4-0 and the Chiefs are 1-3, that it would be incredibly unlikely for the Chiefs to win the division. Yes, I do think that is true. That is objectively true. But what I don't understand is this, and no one has explained it to me yet, and the closest I've heard from you is I just think offense is more important than defense, is why the Chiefs' mediocre offense at 1-2 is cause for concern more than the Ravens' horrific defense at 1-2, especially when you blend into it. The Chiefs had a decidedly mediocre offense last season and made the Super Bowl, and a slightly better than mediocre defense the season before and won the Super Bowl. No one has squared that circle to me other than the Ravens are more exciting to watch, and therefore we believe in them more. That's what I would say, because Brew's the biggest Ravens fan I know, and he thinks the Ravens need this win more.
Yeah, and I'm not as concerned as you about the Ravens' defense. Like, I do think that'll get better, whether it can get top 10-ish better. So I don't have those concerns. But, yeah, Danny, I mean, you're right about the division. Like Nick said, I agree with you on that. But for these teams, yeah, you want to win the division. That's the first goal you have every year is, first win the division. But they are both S-Bob. And I do think, like, the Ravens, if they don't win this week, Lamar will be 1-6 against the Chiefs. The Chiefs are down. They haven't been playing that well. They are banged up a bit, as are the Ravens. But the Ravens look like the better team right now. And if they go in there and still can't beat the Chiefs, it was heartbreak last year, right, with Isaiah Likely and the toe. It was heartbreak 2 years ago when, again, it seemed like everything was in favor of the Ravens. I just think they need – and the Chiefs have been through so much that I don't think mentally they're going to be shaken at all. So I definitely think the Ravens need it more.
You don't think the Chiefs are going to be shaken if they're 1-3?
They will have lost to 3 of the top teams in the league. Now, they won't like it, but we've seen them come back from, even last year they didn't look Super Bowl bound. They got there. 2 years ago when they were 11-6,
they lost
they
5 out of 8 in the last year or 2 years ago. They lost on Christmas, and it was the mortifying loss. And the Raiders had the Mahomes blueprint, and they were the least dangerous team in the playoffs. Like they didn't think that. So again, could they be wrong? But you're asking, like, will their faith be shaken?
From what I've seen, and I can't get into like their heads, but to see like Chris Jones kind of fired up on the sidelines, he wasn't talking about tush push, about the Eagles. They've run the same thing over and over, and we can't stop it. That felt like a level of frustration. The fact that Mahomes is running so much, which he used to only do in the playoffs, and trying to hit guys to give the team a spark as he.
But they didn't.
I think it's that.
He didn't run last week.
Oh, no, he didn't run last week playing the Giants.
I don't
but
think
in general, and then Travis Kelce, actively frustrated even.
But we have different outlooks on the whole.
But those are the three pillars of the team.
And what are Lamar and Derek? This is my point. What's Lamar, Derek Henry, and John Harbaugh? Have those guys? This is my frustration.
Lamar's playing out of his mind.
Exactly.
Lamar leads the league in yards per pass, touchdowns, and passes.
Hold on, but you weren't right there. To be fair, you weren't talking about stats. You were talking about emotions. And if we're talking about emotions and seeming tight, Lamar seemed oddly vexed week 1 at the end of the game, and then in week 3. Derrick Henry flipped out on the sideline, and John Harbaugh gets a little tight in these games.
Sure.
So, like, if we're going to play the body language or that game, the Chiefs absolutely right now are pressed. They're frustrated, all those things. My question is, what has Baltimore done to earn the benefit of the doubt that everyone's giving them but me?
It is a product of their opponents. I'm not sitting here talking about body language or vibes or
because I think you can't read I'm not into that.
Lamar has never been 1-3. Mahomes has never been 1-3. A team hasn't made it to the Super Bowl starting 1-3 since the 2001 Patriots. So this will be uncharted territory for whoever loses this game on Monday, and history will be against whoever loses for SBOB will be against it. All I am saying is, having watched the rest of the NFL, it is not just a product of more faith in Baltimore over Kansas City, because, by the way, I absolutely will still think on Monday that the Chiefs, even if they lose the game, will make the playoffs. But I'll think it. I'll know the Ravens will make the playoffs if they lose the game because of Cincinnati, because of Pittsburgh, because of the path that the Ravens have to get there.
So I just want to make sure I understand.
Sure.
At 1-3, you are 100% confident they're winning their division?
That the Ravens will make the playoffs.
Well, hold on. You were saying the path. It's the winning the division.
You feel like they're going to win the division, too.
But no, listen. I think they will. I think that I think the weird bar of, because like the winning the AFC West is going to be harder, that adding faith or not faith to the Chiefs when we are talking. I don't think either one of these teams has to win their division. I don't think either one of these teams has to get the 1 seed. I think both of these teams feel like, because of Burrow's injury and because of whatever the hell happened to the Texans, and because it looks like the Broncos aren't the team people thought they were going to be, that both of these teams could play mediocre for 15 weeks and back into the playoffs at 9-8 and be a hell of a team, a bummer of a team to play.
I completely agree with that. But do you not agree that if the Chiefs lose, they are more in danger of missing the playoffs than if the Ravens lose?
I absolutely disagree with that.
Okay, well that's
vehemently disagree with that.
That's the fundamental disagreement then.
While I was with you, I agree that if the Chiefs lose, and depending on if it's bad, it really looks bad, they just might not be as good anymore, but I don't think mentally they're going to have any problems. I think they're still going to believe.
I'm only saying, I'm not trying to be like Mr. body language expert. The guys Travis Kelce said, I'm frustrated.
No,
Chris
I think,
Jones,
but I don't think that means that's the worst thing in the world. You should be frustrated.
You're pushing you and your coach are having a physical confrontation.
Well, they did that in the Super Bowl.
How is that different than what Derrick Henry said? That's my question. How is that different? They talked about how much it bothered him.
He's in a very bad spot.
Right, okay.
I totally agree. But Patrick Mahomes is playing a different style of football that he only does when it's like, gotta have it moments.